Good evening, and welcome to the Weekend Rush. My name is Randolph, Critchlow. I want to say thank you very much to those persons joining us internationally in the region and right here in Guyana. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Weekend Rush. Folks. I know I wasn't around for a couple of months. I was on a bit of hiatus. I want to say thank you very much to all those persons who wanted to know where I was. I'm fine. I'm back and I'm ready to go. It is the month of July. We're already in the month of July and we are going to be pushing on. We're going to be keeping the fraudulently installed people on their toes. And I want to say thank you very much to those persons from all over the world, joining us from international locations in the region and right here in Guyana. It is the Weekend Rush. Please note that this is our new time. This is our new time. We will be on at 8 p.m. every Sunday evening, bringing you a wrap-up of the week's activities, what happened during the week, accounting for every single thing. As usual, folks, we like to let you know that you can get in the comment section and let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. Jamal Aziz, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much. Always here, always here. Yes, just want to say thank you, of course, to all of the people who reached out again, who reached out and inquired as to what is happening with Randy. We're not seeing Randy on the rush, unpacking the incredible and valid information. Folks, I was taking a bit of a rest. I am back now, raring and ready to go, and this is the time that we'll be on. We'll be on at 8 p.m. So share, let your friends and family know that the rush is back and it's the Weekend Rush. We'll be on Sundays, your Sunday evenings. Just got a little better because we'll be on bringing you a wrap up of the week's activity and looking forward to the week to come. We will be here. Folks, so many things would have happened over the past week that we have to talk about, we have to shed some light on, we have to bring it out and we have to unpack and speak about it from various angles so that you understand what is really happening. Of course, we want you to get into the comment sections. Let us know where you're joining us from. Roxanne Ward, thank you very much. I'm happy to be back. Thank you very much. There be all of the people listening. Joyce listening from Queens. Miss Keith, yes, I'm happy to be back too. Good night. Share the live stream, folks. Let's get the ball rolling on the Weekend Rush. I am happy to be back, yes, folks. Joining us from Rob Street. Greetings from Maryland, watching from West Side. Rhonda, yes, I'm happy to be back too. Thank you very much for your greetings. All of you good folks who are always tuned in, good night. Gladys, good night to all of you joining us from Jamaica, folks. The World Championships are soon to start. So my good friends in Jamaica, let me say shout out to my good friend Anella in Jamaica, who will be repping for the Jamaicans in the World Championships. Hopefully those persons that they're representing Guyana will be well also. Yeah. Watching from French Guyana, Donald, thank you very much. Good night to all of you. Good night from Queens. Thank you very much for tuning in. This evening. Just want you to share the live stream before we get into the mix. Before we start unpacking what has happened. I'll allow you an opportunity to share where you're joining us from in the live stream and share the live stream to your friends and family, your WhatsApp group, your Facebook groups. You know what we like to do, folks? We like to start things the right way on the program here. We're going to go straight into the intro and then we'll be back, read some more of your comments and get into the issues that are affecting us, folks. There are lots, there are many. Let's unpack, folks. folks. We're in the comment section. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Trinidad and Tobago is locked in tonight. Thank you. Looking from Alpha, New Jersey. Thank you very much. Toronto is in the house. A blessed good evening from French Guyana, Queens, all over the world. Belladrum is in the house. Let me say good evening, folks, before we start to our good friends up there at on the East Coast. Ansgrove, Nabakalis, all of those good folks up there on the East Coast. Belladrum, thank you very much for tuning in. Right? Thank you very much for tuning in. My good friend Triple B, my godmother, my adopted godmother, she likes to say, Triple B, thank you very much for your hospitality last weekend. I spent the weekend in the country, folks, and it was good. I want to say thank you very much to all of those persons. Right, Desmond, yes, it is good to be back, Desmond. It's good to be back and be ready to go, folks. Folks, this evening, it's going to be an interesting evening. I'm going to draw some comparisons for you, some parallels. Some parallels from what played out in an African country, right? Some parallels and some comparisons as to what happened when that country got oil. And these oil monies in the hands of the wrong set of people. And I want us to understand, folks, that we are seeing many of the same things playing out here in Guyana. But we're going to be talking about that tonight. Belfield. Yes, it is Belfield. Triple B, thank you very much for your hospitality this weekend. Barbados is in the house. Good evening, watching from New York, Brooklyn. Good evening, Vanessa. All of the good folks tuned to the live. Share the live stream, folks. Let's have some fun tonight. Share the live stream. Let's have some fun. As I said, tonight we are going to be looking at an in-depth report done by 60 Minutes Australia, right? On the country Equatorial Guinea. That's the name of the country, Equatorial Guinea, who had a dictator at the helm, oil money running through the country, a few of the top living lavishly, and the masses suffering. And so we're going to be drawing some parallels, folks, and I'm going to be showing you a video, and I'm going to be cutting the video and coming back and asking a simple question. Doesn't that sound familiar? That's the question we'll be asking. Doesn't that sound familiar? It is shocking, folks, at the parallels of what happened in Equatorial Guinea and what is playing out in Guyana, folks. It is shocking. And one may ask, the only logical question to ask is whether or not we are heading down that same road and whether or not we will meet the same fate. That is what we need to ask, folks. And so we'll be looking at that video. We'll also be introducing our segment that we started running on our page. It's called Life Under the PPP. Because this government is very good. This fraudulent government is very good at propaganda. Let's get that clear. Sri Lanka is tuned in. Thank you very much, Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for tuning in. This fraudulent administration, folks, is very good at propaganda. They're very good at posting nice pictures. Very, very good at it. I think that's what they do better than any other thing. Probably only siphoning off and thieving money, they're better at that. They're probably better at siphoning off the country money and putting it in the friends and family pocket. But they're very good at propaganda. Good night from Brooklyn. Thank you very much for tuning in. And so what you will see are lovely pictures plastered all about. Government going here, shaking hands there, kissing babies there. All over. The president flying all over the world. He's a jet-setting president. But they're very good at this propaganda and presenting a picture as if everything is all right. But you and I know, you and I live in the communities with the potholes. You and I live in Georgetown where you can't have stable electricity. You and I know what is happening. And so we've started to present to the people. Look, this is what life under the PUP is. This is what life under the PUP is. And I want to start us out before I get to the video comparing Guyana's path right now with that of Equatorial Guinea. I want to start, as I'm on this issue of life under the PPP, I want to share with you a video that was caught by the Guyanese critic, right? He caught the video of a woman in Monripo on the day when those elements infiltrated the protests and caused disturbance in the market area. That was already started before they meet there, by the way. Though let's get into that now. But there's a video of a woman. And what was striking was the woman said, look, on the Granger time, this never happened. It never happened. And I want to play that video for you.
Right now, there you are, Yalis, enjoy the fruit of the government, not me. 29 years I married, I never get a land, I never get nothing. Me run. Me got 2 children, 28 and 20, and I never get a mark from the government, never a job. And all the old ministers get a job, Eccles Milling. And you go tell me, to God, this is a time to pick up and pack up and go. No vote. In Batali, no vote, under your government we suffering. In Granger time we never suffer so.
All the government the same thing,
yes, but they're going to protest peaceful and this one come broke up your market in front of all them. You go tell them, go back and vote. 5 votes lose from the house. I ain't getting a thing. School children get money, disabled get money, what I get. I be $2 where you sell 3, 4 for 2 weeks now a day. You got to pay passage and pay rent. God.
Folks, those words, let me say this, and I'm going to play back that video. That woman she encapsulated everything that is happening. The woman said on the Granger time, this and people protest peacefully. This same fraudulent administration was allowed to protest. For those who have memories, they will remember when they were outside of Pegasus, shaking people's vehicle down. That same president's Mr. 19 charges was shaking people's vehicle down, blocking people from moving. They were allowed to protest. The woman said she ain't get nothing from this government. 23 years are in. Now 25 years under them. And life under the PPP people. And again, I'm saying this to you. We have to continue to let people understand that these people are very, very good at the propaganda. They know how to spin it and make it feel like if they're doing something, make you feel as if they're actually doing something whilst they're full in their pocket. And so the woman expressed all of that. What she expressed is what people are feeling. That's what people are feeling, folks. She went on and she ended by talking about the cost of living. Cost of living. Right?
How much you pay for your... I'm pulling up right out there and you are Yalis, enjoy the fruit of the government, not me. 29 years I married, I never get a land, I never get nothing. Me run. Me got 2 children, 28 and 20, and I never get a mark from the government, never a job. And all the old ministers get a job, Eccles Milling. And you go tell me, to God, this is a time to pick up and pack up and go. No vote. In Batali, no vote.
Woman says it's time to pick up and pack up and go, folks, and we might be looking at this, but we need to understand that this is a sentiment of many people in this country. Because this administration, as we unpack all of that, what she just said, you must understand that this administration and their policies are not geared for the poor and the average man. I want you to look in the newspapers. Look on their Facebook page. You will see lots of big deals signing. Lots of big deals. So let's talk about Suyet. Right? Lots of big deals signing. Big hotels going up. How many of the average Guyanese could actually go and get a room in one of them hotels that are going up? How many? And before we get to the video that we're going to be unpacking today, folks, you know, I saw another video trending, and this one is a little funny. It's a little funny, but there is a lot of deeper meaning and a lot of underlying things in this particular video, and it speaks about the situation that is happening in our country.
Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man. Oh.
I know you saw that video on social media. I know you did. And we might laugh when we look at it. It might seem funny. But just like the words of the Indian woman in Monrepo, or this vendor, apparently the PVP is living in some bubble. And they don't hear what the people are saying on the streets. The people are actually suffering in this country. And they want to present us a picture of a utopia, as if everything is fine and dandy in Guyana. Right? Everything is just fine. But folks, let us not dwell on that. Let us move forward, because I have a very important video for us to dissect this evening and for us to dig into. As we draw the parallels, as we talk about the comparisons between what played out in Equatorial Guinea and what is happening in Guyana. And folks, this should cause great alarm. This should be cause for great concern on the part of all Guyanese. Because our natural patrimony, national patrimony, the thing that Guyanese would have been waiting on for years to get out of this loop and this cycle of poverty that the country was in. It seems as though that Guyanese dream is further today away from the average man than it was 20 years ago. And there is a sense of hopelessness, because it seems as though those at the top, the elite few who control the means of production and control the wheels of government, are colluding to keep the average man average. That is what it seems like. When you listen to the Vice News documentary and you see how these guys operate, you wonder whether or not the average Guyanese will ever get anything. You wonder if the average Guyanese will ever get out of their averageness and stop living an average life. How are we growing the middle class if all we can do in this country is give handouts, when we're not empowering people? Let us go to the video, folks, because I want us to understand what is happening. Okay?
Tonight, the story of a tyrant, possibly the worst in the world. He's vicious, he's venal, and he's robbing his country blind. His country is an African hellhole called Equatorial Guinea, and no one would have ever heard or cared about it if they hadn't discovered vast oil deposits just offshore.
No one would have ever heard or cared about it. As I said, I will be stopping this video as we dissect and we draw comparisons and we point to parallels. He said that no one would have heard or cared about Equatorial Guinea if he didn't discover oil. Sounds familiar? Does that sound familiar? All right.
So much oil, in fact, that at the rate this tiny country is growing, in 10 years it could be the richest in the world.
Does that sound familiar, folks? At the rate this country is growing, in 10 years it could be the richest in the world. Does that sound familiar? You might be thinking that he's speaking about Guyana, isn't it? Right? You might be thinking, why is this man talking about Guyana? Let's continue, folks.
The trouble is, most of the oil money is being pumped directly into the president's pocket. He's living like a king while his people starve. The two-bob tin pot tyrant who runs this tiny African backwater gets around with an entourage worthy of a superpower. And he is just about the most horrible despot in the world today. President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo. His people are amongst the poorest on earth, and he's amongst the richest.
This is one bad place. It's had one of the most appalling human rights records, probably in the world. Regular torture, regular extrajudicial killings.
Pause it there, folks. Again, we are not talking about Guyana here. Do not be confused. Do not adjust your television set. Let us draw the parallels and comparison. The man said this is one bad place. Regular torture, regular extrajudicial killings. Sound familiar? Does it sound familiar, folks? Let's continue.
Until people found oil, nobody was really talking about Equatorial Guinea.
The oil here is attractive because it's non-Arab, non-OPEC, non-Muslim, and the rigs are well out of reach of the pesky natives. The main island of this tiny nation is in what detractors call the armpit of Africa. A small Australian company, Rock Oil, is drilling here, but it's mostly American giants, particularly ExxonMobil. To begin with, they gave Equatorial Guinea, the oil's owners, just 12% of the oil revenues. The norm is more like 60%, according to Alex Vines, an African specialist with the Royal Institute of International Affairs.
Initially,
Let's pause, folks. Let's pause again as we analyze this video. Let's analyze it. Who is the major player? Exxon Mobil or Mobil, whatever you want to call it. Exxon. Exxon is the major player. Fortunately, we didn't get 12%. We got 50%. Right? We only got 2% royalty, but we got 50% of the profit oil. And we've gone through that in terms of what is profit oil and what are royalties. But we got 50% profit oil. But it sounds familiar. It sounds like a familiar story. A tiny country with a corrupt government, one of whom is a dictator, found oil, projected to be the richest country. ExxonMobil operating is a major player, gave them a raw deal. Sounds very familiar up to now, folks. Let's continue to listen.
The oil companies gave Equatorial Guinea a really bad deal.
They took advantage of him.
Certainly to start with. The government of Equatorial Guinea had not a clue what it was dealing with at the time.
The main square in the capital is a quaint throwback to Spanish colonial times. Elsewhere, the city is mostly a slum, with little running water and essentially no sewerage. The government stopped us filming here, but we managed these shots from our hotel window.
Folks, I pause it here. I pause this video here because I want to say something to you. If we as Guyanese, and I want you to look at the image and understand the story, right? This is Equatorial Guinea. I want you to understand the story and why it is that I'm showing this video and analyzing it in this particular way. Because there are striking similarities between what went on in Equatorial Guinea and what is happening in Guyana. Let me show you an image. Right. This is Barnwell, Mocha, in the village of Mocha Arcadia on the east bank of Demerara. This is Guyana, the oil-rich nation that is projected to be the richest nation, one of the richest. What you're looking at there is the road. Right? I want you to understand why I'm analyzing this video in this manner. Right? Look at it. That is a road in the oil-rich country of Guyana, folks. That school children traverse, Guyanese traverse. Right? And we have to ask ourselves, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up? I showed this particular video to draw the parallel. And we've only watched a few minutes of that video talking about Equatorial Guinea. We've only watched a few minutes of it. And it is shocking how similar what is happening in Guyana here. It is to what is happening in Guyana here. Let's go back to that video.
Whilst the oil fires flicker on the horizon at night, students with no electricity at home study under the streetlights that illuminate the drive to the presidential palace.
It's a very bad, evil government, and Exxon, I think, to its shame, is in bed with them.
Frank Ruddy is doubly qualified. He was once the American ambassador to Equatorial Guinea and once a lawyer for Exxon.
The shameful part is that you have a great company like Exxon Mobil, which is tied in with this very corrupt government. The president treats the Treasury as his own patrimony. And so to do business with somebody like that and to basically literally feed his coffers, I think it's shameful.
The president and his family are frequently overseas.
Let's pause it again. President and his family frequently overseas. Sounds familiar? If it sounds familiar, then let me say to you folks that we are living through what we are looking at there. We are living through exactly that. Right? If you think I am joking, go to the President and the First Lady's page. Just go to their Facebook page. You'll see the fancy restaurants and the shops and the malls. Go all around the world having fun. While there are people in this country that can't tell you tonight what they're eating tomorrow morning. This is an administration that had 23 years, failed the people, and they're doing the same thing. They haven't changed one bit. I would say that it's gotten worse. They have gotten worse. So if this video sounds familiar, and those who are looking at this live and in the comments trying to stifle their conscience, you better not. You might choke. Don't stifle it.
First son, Teodoro Jr., is partial to Paris and its finest hotels.
The president's son.
Incredibly, he once allowed French television to tag along on a shopping spree. But a Bentley can be hard work in Paris traffic.
C'est Paris. Pour le soir, vous avez dit?
Pour le soir, si vous avez des cocktails ou des gens
A fashion house closed its doors to give Junior exclusive access to the merchandise. Whilst their Paris ambassador did his job. Teodoro bought 30 suits that day, browsed for a new watch, and then took the Lamborghini down the Champs-Élysées to get some CDs. Would it be churlish to suggest that maybe it's excesses like this that cause so little to be spent in the slums back home?
The actual expenditure on health and education has significantly declined in the last 5 years. And think of it, the last 5 years are when the oil wealth has really been kicking in. So although the country's getting richer, actually the people are getting poorer. The money is going elsewhere. It's not going to the benefit of the people.
The white...
Good folks of Guyana, again I ask, does this sound familiar to you? Not that we've only had oil now flowing for a little over 5 years also. Right? All of those years in Guyana's history and development, we hadn't the shot in the arm that oil is. This government is now reaping the benefits of the oil industry that has now kicked in. And what they have shown us, good folks, doesn't inspire me to believe that we will be better off in 10 to 15 years. It does not inspire that confidence. all I see are similarities with what happened in Equatorial Guinea. Let's watch a few more minutes. Right? Do not be confused. Do not be confused.
Hotel in the capital has one of the nation's 2 swimming pools. Neither contains water. How many times have you been to jail? Having dinner at a fish restaurant an hour or so after talking to those rig workers when, out of the blue, the Equatorial Guinean Information Minister shows up and says, "Get out of the country. Your visa has been revoked." And he added for good measure, "If you go quietly, then nobody will be thrown into jail." So I think understandably we then quietly made our way here to Madrid in Spain. How many times have you been to jail?
4 times.
Have you been to jail?
Several times.
The rat-infested Black Beach Jail, back in the capital, is where President Obiang locks up his opponents.
Folks, the similarities are striking. This PPP government has a history of trying to silence people when they speak out against them. Sounds familiar? Same thing. It's as if, folks, this government went all the way to Africa, asked the people of Equatorial Guinea, "I need your playbook. That playbook that y'all use to squander the country's wealth and oil, I need that playbook because we have oil down in Guyana. We need to do the same thing." It was this government that put Mark Benchcop in jail. Our memory is not that short. It is this fraudulent, illegal PPP government that is responsible for trying to silence voices that speak out against them. It is this government, it's under this government that feces was thrown in a media personnel space. It's under this government we see so many efforts being made to restrict the media. Just the other day, as Vice News was putting their documentary out there, trying to block media sources from playing that documentary. This government, don't let us forget, it is under this government only a few days ago that the police force put out a notice telling people that they don't have permission to protest. And some of us still believe that we're living in a democracy. There is the famous experiment, folks, about the frog slowly boiling to death as you turn up the fire slowly. We are those frogs. And slowly but surely, this fraudulent PPP government has moved away all of the trappings of a democratic country. Imagine the Guyana police force, with all of the problems that they have, could put out a notice to tell Guyanese citizens that they don't have permission to protest. Some of you can continue to sit down and believe that that is how a democratic country works. Right? Are we going to come to the cost of living just now, but we're talking about the similarities, folks, of what happened in Equatorial Guinea to what is playing out in Guyana right now. And if those persons want to continue to put their heads in the sand and pretend as if everything regular in Guyana, then go right ahead. But I will not be one of those. I will not be one of those to stand and take the foolishness of this government and say, well, yeah, you know, they put out some nice pictures on Facebook, so they're doing nice things. Hogwash. What is happening in real Guyana? What is happening at the community levels? As we say that, folks, let's show you what's happening at the community levels. Because some of those people, those apologists and sycophants, don't want us to show you what is happening at the community level. They want us to show you the pictures that the president in Dubai and over somewhere and the first lady shopping at some expensive mall overseas. These are lovely things. But this is what is happening. This is Providence.
There's a military housing vehicle. This is the street we are living. Right, look. But then guys come. Look. There's a military housing vehicle. This is the street we are living. Right, look. But then guys come to check the street. Look. Let's take up. This is what we got past through every day. There's there. Look. There's a military housing vehicle. This is the street we are living. Right, look. But then guys come to check the street. Look. Let's take up. This is what we got past through every day. There's there.
Every day, folks. That is real Guyana. That is what is happening. So those on the comment section that are quite content with accepting the crumbs from this government and living in squalor, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Because this is the government that got the oil money. But you ain't get nothing. You ain't get one cotton wool for smell. But you're defending this government. Keep your head in the sand. Let us continue, folks. Let us continue. It's a sad situation. A sad situation.
When he seized power from his uncle 25 years ago, he kept him here. Forces, at least that's what he told Bob Simon from CBS 60 Minutes in an interview last year.
The oil has been for us like manna that the Jews ate in the desert. We have to follow the rules to make sure the manna reaches all the people in Equatorial Guinea.
The oil companies make sure the manna reaches at least as far as him. In America, it's red carpet treatment for the president all the way.
I remember the president has a very fine collection of Scotch whiskey.
Obiang was even a guest at this function when Big Oil paraded its biggest and most powerful friend.
The President of the United States, George Bush.
Do you have any qualms about doing business there?
It's a matter of you have to.
Mr. Stephen Hayes runs America's Corporate Council on Africa. The council lobbies for American oil. I mean, is there any depth to which you will not sink? I mean, would you do business with this man Obiang no matter how corrupt he is?
I think that at some point, again, that's a good question.
Folks, The reporter got this man stuttering, like how Isabel had Barrett stuttering. Now, folks, again, it's familiar. It sounds familiar. A corrupt government in bed with the oil companies. Sounds familiar. Stutter, you can't answer the question. Let's move forward, folks.
Agree with it.
What, the cruel bit or the corrupt bit?
No, I don't. I don't agree that American companies are not following the fair trade practices act.
It turns out President Obiang does lots and lots of business in Washington, oil business and private business.
Again, folks, not to belabor the point, but we're going to jump to the end of this particular video because I know we are coming down to the end of our program, but I want to show you one other thing.
Yeah.
Back home in Equatorial Guinea's slums, last year the economy grew a massive 60%.
Sounds familiar. Economic growth and dynamism, the biggest budget on the back of oil. We can boast about all of this fancy growth that we're having. But what is happening to the average man on the street? Same thing that happened in Equatorial Guinea. Same thing.
It is the fastest growing economy on earth. Near to none of the country's 500,000 people see a brass razoo from this. Why don't you do the right thing? Get out of Equatorial Guinea, turn your back on this corrupt dictator.
Let's assume that every oil company, U.S. oil company, gets out. How fast do you think it would be before the French and other international oil companies are in there? A second. So what really changes in Equatorial Guinea?
See, that's it. It is such a tiny place. It should be another Kuwait.
If everyone did the right thing, yes, and
let's pause it here again, folks. It is such a tiny place that it should be another Kuwait. Now, we've been saying that Guyana should be the Dubai of the Caribbean because we're so small. And comparatively, the amount of money that we should get from oil should make us very rich. What were they saying just now about Equatorial Guinea? That it's so small it should be another Kuwait, an oil-rich country. But have the actions of this government over the last 2 years inspired you to believe that Guyana is going to move forward in any rapid way? I know we will have a few hotels in the next couple of years. We'll have some fancy hotels. Guyana will be the hotel capital. Or right behind those hotels, like in this documentary, those people from 60 Minutes were able to sit in their hotel room and video the slums from their hotel room. Similarly, folks, for those persons who are staying at the Marriott, if they have a high enough room, they can open up the window, the Marriott and the Pegasus, and zoom over, use the zoom lens, and zoom over to the slums, right at Tiger Bay. And unless we understand that the government's position is to move those people out of poverty and not build big fancy hotels, that's not the job. The job first and foremost is to ensure that the resources being taken out there by Exxon gets to the poorest. Because those big hotels will continue to go up. And the people from Exxon will come in and open the window and they can look across to the slums, because the average Guyanese who's supposed to be getting the money will continue to live in squalor. Let's finish this video.
Is that almost no one is doing exactly the right thing.
By associating with this murderous criminal tyrant, we in the West are party to a disgrace and contributing to a disaster in the making.
Folks, let me say this to you. And you can go look for that. Go look for that documentary on Equatorial Guinea by 60 Minutes Australia. And look at it for yourself. It's about 20 minutes long. Right? It's about 20 minutes long. Go look for it. And if you look at that video and you don't see the similarities to what is happening in Guyana right now, then you have blinders on. And you know what somebody, a good friend of mine used to say? You look for it. And whatever Guyana has coming to it, God forbids it happens. They look for it. Because unless the people of Guyana, not no savior, not no leader, not no pastor or preacher, unless the people of Guyana decide that enough is enough, we will continue down this road. And it's a very likely possibility that we will become another Equatorial Guinea. So if the people continue to put their head in the sand and believe the propaganda of the PPP, if the people decide that they want to keep their heads in the sand and look at the nice glossy pictures on Facebook and the lovely, propaganda pictures being posted around and not understand the plight of the people in Guyana. If the people in Guyana want to continue to accept handouts instead of real development, then you look for what you get. You look for what you get. Folks, as we continue, and I know we're going to wrap up in just a minute, one more life in Guyana. Life under the PPP.
No, folks, it's not an Indiana Jones movie. It's the bridges of Metamazog. We understand, you all tell us the other day, nobody focuses on nothing particularly. In a jumbled up, mixed up, confusion, Paul Pocketory story. Whoever wants to take responsibility. If it's you, if it's Van Jail, somebody, please. The folks of Metamazog say they need better.
Folks, this is a question I want answered. I want this question answered, Some of you might be able to tell me. Come in the comment section, man. I know we have a lot of the PPP people looking at the program. We're always happy to have you here. At least we have you doing something constructive. You could have been spending it with your family, but you're here with us. We're happy that you're here to listen, and hopefully you'll learn. Might be hard to learn in part, might be hard for you, but at least you're here. So tell us, where is this all money going? Where is it going? Edward Brooms, the people are looking for leadership Yes, they're looking for leadership, but a lot of the people are willing and content to keep their heads in the sand. And that is my major argument. We are content to be just going along with the flow. You know, we don't want to be participating in our own freedom. You're looking for a savior. But I'm saying to you, when the people of Guyana decide that enough is enough, there'll be a change. Maybe I should ask Sue where the oil money going. Maybe I'll get an answer then. Good night, Candy. Folks, it is so good to be back. So good to be back and unpacking these issues that are plaguing us. I want to say a special shout out to all of those persons who are on the live right now, and those persons who shared, joining from all over the world. All over the world. Engage with us. Let us know. Listen, I really don't care which side of the aisle you're on right now. There are some people in the comments talking about Burnham. Problem is that Burnham is not here. We have people like Bart at the helm. They're colluding with the Chinese, according to the documentary, to sell out this country. Right? That's what we're dealing with right now. If you are content to talk about the past, go right ahead. That ain't going to help us. That is not going to help us. Good night to Frank. Good night to all of those persons joining us. Folks, next Sunday, I want to be able to have a better engagement with you. I want to be able to talk with you. We'll open the phone lines and we'll have an open and frank discussion. And listen, I really don't care if you're a supporter of the PPP. Call in and let us have a discussion. Right? A constructive discussion online is better than you typing foolishness behind a keyboard. Are you willing to defend those comments that you're making? For those persons, there's some people who try to be objective. Right? But if you're willing, if you have the mental capacity, right? As my friend Sherrod used to say, the testicular fortitude, the mental aptitude to have a proper discussion about the state of affairs in Guyana, then call in. We'll be open, the phone lines will be open next Sunday. Right? But let me say this, folks. You see what is happening in Guyana? The old people had a saying, that the longest rope got an end. And I will say this because I started with this, reminding you that the PPP are very good at propaganda. Unless they can show me that the oil money is going to the average man, wheel and come again. That's what you need to do. Wheel and come again. You know what going to the average man? Handouts and hampers. That's what going to them. Right? Handouts and hampers. And maybe those persons who are content with the handouts and hampers feel that they can bury their heads in the sand and hope that handouts and hampers will get us there. It wouldn't. Real, tangible, forward-thinking, developmental projects are what's going to get us there. How are you going to get those people out of poverty? How are you going to increase the middle class so more persons can afford to have that good life? It ain't gonna happen with handouts. Folks, on that note, I will leave you this evening. I will leave you, and I will let you know that we'll be back. We'll be back next Sunday to unpack and extrapolate and dissect all of the issues that are affecting us here in Guyana. And, you know, we like that you engage in the comment section. Continue to let your feelings known in the comment section, whether you agree with me or not. Whether you agree with me or not. Right? That is what a democratic country allows you to do. To express yourselves. So in your comment section, if you agree with me, cool. If you don't, that's it's your opinion, that's your view. But we thank you for your interaction. We thank you for paying attention, and we hope that the message that we are trying to get across, folks, about us going down the road of a country like Equatorial Guinea. And as a Guyanese, I'm hoping against hope that that is not where we're heading. But the signs are not good. They're not encouraging, folks. Let me say to you, do enjoy the rest of your evening. Do enjoy the rest of your week. My name is Randolph Critchlow, and like I always say, folks, let's continue to work together. Let's continue to work together for national development. Do enjoy the rest of your evening, and stay safe, folks. Stay safe.